Let's talk coherence today. So if something coheres, it sticks together. And the worst thing you can do when you're writing an essay is to have an idea, have another idea, have a third idea, and the reader has no idea what the connection are to these ideas. Why do they belong in that particular order? So coherence is putting things in a logical order. And I'll just tell you right now, logic and orderly processes are a big thing for me. So I love to see it when students give me reasons that I can understand why the paper is organized the way it is. So there are different ways that you can gain coherence. It's at the bottom of page 100. So let's talk about that. One thing you can do is just using pronouns. It's so obvious, but if I start off and I say, the President of the United States, and then my second sentence says, he, that's a pronoun, right? A pronoun is a stand-in for a noun. So the minute I say he, I'm drawing you back to the first sentence and I'm shoving those two sentences closely together. You know that sentence one has a lot to do with sentence two because we're still talking about the President of the United States. Or if I say Palomar Community College and then the next sentence says it. The it is pulling us back to what's the it? Oh, it's a stand-in for Palomar. It's connecting the two. So you get the feeling things are very tightly organized that way. So that's pretty obvious, right? Everybody uses pronouns, so that's not a big deal. The second thing down there at the bottom of the page is the use of transitions. I'm a huge fan of transitions. Transitions are road signs. I always call them road signs. So as an example, you're going down a street someplace and you've never been there before, and there's a sign there that says something like caution, school ahead. Okay, you know to slow down because there may be kids going back and forth. Or you're out on the highway and you're going down a road you're not comfortable with, you've never been there, not sure about it, and there's a big sign there that shows an arrow pointing to the left, and you know that there's going to be a fairly tight turn coming. Right, those are warnings, those are road signs telling you what's ahead. So transitions do the same thing. We have so many transitions in English. I'll just give you a couple of examples. Sentence one goes da 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 da, period. And then the next sentence starts off, therefore. What's that suggesting? It's saying whatever you did in number one is going to lead to something, isn't it? Therefore, like as a result, which is another transition. So sentence one is connected to sentence two as a result of something that went on. What if sentence one goes da 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 da, period, and sentence two says, however? What do you know is happening? You're going to get a contrast to whatever sentence one said. You're going to hear the opposite side when you encounter sentence two. What if sentence one goes da 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 da, period, and sentence two says, next? Okay, you know you're getting a sequence of things. How many? I don't know, but the next helps you out, doesn't it? Because you know you're moving on to a new point. So I'm big on coherence. I love coherence. That'll help you keep things together. That's coherence. So transitions are wonderful. Number three is use of repetition. So what does that mean? So repetition, if you're saying DNA, and then the next sentence says DNA. Now, not necessarily at the beginning of the sentence, but you just repeat the key phrase, DNA, so everybody knows what you're talking about. Or you're talking about brain function, and then the next sentence says this function, right? So you pick up that word function. And so you repeat things, and that way people know you're not drifting off to a new topic. Now it's almost easier if I just show you some examples of coherence rather than me trying to talk about it kind of off the top of my head. So if you turn to page 101, here's an exercise, and I'm going to walk you through, maybe we'll do 2 paragraphs together, and then I'd like you to complete these. But they're going to use transitions, they're going to use pronouns, they're going to use key phrases that are repeated phrases for you to be able to follow what's being talked about here. So let me read it. And first do you see the blanks that are there? Let me go past the blank first, and then we'll back up and figure out what the blank might be. It's going to be an example of coherence. So here we go. In fact, maybe what I'll do is I'll read the paragraph. Okay, and then we'll go back. The decade preceding the Civil War was one of bitter strife and conflict. The North and South were involved in a debate over the issue of slavery. The South, which depended on, there's your first blank, for both economic and domestic reasons, felt that another blank, had the right to maintain slavery and was ready to fight should this blank be challenged. Slavery, number 4, blank, served no purpose to the North, blank. It felt that the keeping of humans as work animals was entirely wrong and that 6, blank, should be abolished. Slavery, 7, was the overriding issue which led to the Civil War. But there were 4 main causes which actually triggered the start of the Civil War. Colon. By the way, I like the use of a colon. It means I've given you a sentence, now I'm going to give you information like a spotlight here. So here are the 4 causes. The printing of Uncle Tom's Cabin, the Dred Scott decision, the election of Abraham Lincoln to the presidency, blank, the issue of state rights. Okay, so let's go back. Remember, what we're trying to do is to figure out words or phrases that will connect these pieces real well. So look at the first sentence. It says there's a debate over the issue of what? Slavery. Now, we shouldn't be surprised to see the word slavery pop up more than once. If this paragraph is talking about slavery, we should be encountering that word more than once. So look where it comes in. The South, next sentence, the South which depended on, what are we talking about? Slavery. So you plug in slavery for number 1. Now, we may disagree. You might think of another phrase or term. You call it injustice or something like that. That's okay. But I'm just telling you the obvious thing is repetition here, slavery. So the South, which depended on slavery for both economic and domestic reasons, felt that, what are we talking about? The South. So you could put for number 2 either it, meaning the South, or the South. So let's try it. Felt that it had the right to maintain their slavery again and was ready to fight should this, what do they want? They want the right. So number 3 is, should this right be challenged? So do you hear the repetition there? It had the right to maintain slavery. Number 4. Now look at number 4. We've been talking about the South. Is this sentence still continuing on the South? No, it's not. We're moving to the North. Now the North fights the South. So do you think they're going to be in agreement? No. There's going to be a clash. Why don't we use a transitional word that will show a clash? So we say slavery, number 4. How about however, served no purpose to the North, therefore, right, meaning it had no purpose, so therefore it felt that the keeping of humans as work animals was wrong, and that what should be abolished? Slavery. So number 6, slavery. And then we start the next sentence, slavery. Now you want something that's kind of a wrap up at this point. We're finished talking about the North, we're finished talking about the South. What does this all add up to? So slavery, therefore, because you're tying up together and saying as a result of what I've been telling you, slavery, therefore, was the overriding issue which led to the Civil War. But there's a transition. They didn't ask you to figure that one out, but there it is. But there were 4 main causes that triggered the Civil War. So here they go. Uncle Tom's Cabin, Dred Scott decision, election of Lincoln, issue of states' rights. For number 8, by the way, I just put and. Pretty simple. Okay, so how are we doing? Is this making sense? Let's do one more paragraph. I'll go a little faster on this one. I just want you to get the feeling of repetition, transitions, and occasionally pronouns. So here we go. In 1851-52, Harriet Beecher Stowe published a, if you don't know, I'll help you on this one. It was a novel. Okay, so I just put a novel entitled Uncle Tom's Cabin. The 10. The novel was the story of an African-American family's treatment in bondage. The book, do you hear the repetition there? The book infuriated both North and South, but for different reasons. You'll see why the but's important, because they don't agree on why they were enraged about this book. The North, which was almost totally against slavery, could not believe that such things actually happened, and, okay, so we're going to continue what the North says, and cried out for the immediate abolishment of slavery. The South, okay, contrast, the South, however, felt that the slaves were its property and that the North had no right interfering. The South felt that the, what's this whole paragraph been on? The book, or the novel, I don't care which one. The South felt that the novel was a misrepresentation of fact. So finish this up. Now you may get stuck. Don't sit there and agonize over something. Just plug in what you think might work. But I think the best thing to do is read the paragraph and then get a feel for this. And then I want you to be doing that in your own writing. This is not just an exercise. Get used to writing this way. Have yourself a boatload of really good transitions and repetitions so the reader can follow real clearly what it is you're doing. Okay, well, I hope that's helpful to you.